Well, Black Lightning returned with the Prelude episode to the supposed Painkiller series, and all I gotta say is, give it to me. What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeekMixer here to give you guys my review on this week's episode of Black Lightning. After a 2-week hiatus, we returned to Black Lightning, but as it was sold, it was going to be a prelude episode to go in with that supposed episode series of Painkiller coming out. And just like I said, YouTubers of the world, I want that series because this episode really established things, not only just for who the bad guy is or who the big bad is, but also it's shown us more to Painkiller and Khalil than we already knew, and showed us a very interesting topic of genre they can give to us if they continue with this series. And that's the thing of duality between Khalil and Painkiller. And it's not just that, it also shows us what's happened with Painkiller ever since he's been gone. He's pretty much established a pretty good life there, in a sort of sense, but nevertheless, he's got some people who seem to be there and who will be there for him no matter what. It's kind of like he's got his own team, just like Black Lightning has Gamby and his family. Well, Khalil's got that with two guys, a guy named Billicky, or whatever that guy's name is. All I know is he's pretty much the Peter Gamby of the group. And then you got this guy named Donald, who pretty much looks like he could have been a mercenary or something, but Khalil found him, helped him, and let me just say, those three together, you can tell they make a formidable team, especially when you see this episode. This episode really shows that they're all in this together. They won't hesitate to help each other out. When the other's in danger, the other two will come marching to rescue them, because that's exactly what we saw in this episode. And then, of course, there's also the fact that, yes, there was Thunder and Grace in this, because we already figured that out from 2 weeks ago, that Thunder and Grace would be having a little involvement in this. But that also suggests that they are also getting involved in the series, like they might make special guests, they might make recurring or guest star appearances. That's just a guess right there. But nevertheless, guys, great episode. I want a Painkiller series, and I hope they go through with it, because Jordan Calloway, you do an amazing job, and all these other people, it's just got me hooked. But now, having gone and said all that, let's go ahead and go into the breakdown of this, because I think I've rambled on the overview of it for far long enough. But nevertheless, guys, Thunder and Grace, yeah, they went to this city that Khalil's at. I can't remember the name of it, so I'm sorry on that end, but they chose that as their honeymoon. Funny how no matter what, when it comes to superhero families, no matter where they go, they can't seem to have a good, happy little honeymoon or anything, or a little fun vacation time and stuff like that, without having to run into some criminals or underworld brokers. Because when you look at that city, first off, and you can just tell straight out the bat that it looks nice and a nice place to honeymoon, but it's definitely got a place with a lot of underworld brokers out there and stuff. But before I actually continue on into that, though, let me just say I love the entrance of this episode, with Khalil talking to himself and stuff, and then they got this picture, this little footage of that owl flying on and stuff, and I was just like, this is beautiful. This is a great way to introduce things. I love that owl footage right there. I don't know if that was CGI. I think that was, but it was pretty good. But now, going back on track here, like I said, no matter where they go, always gonna find underworld brokers or kidnappers or etc. in towns like that. And yeah, unfortunately, Grace became one of those kidnapped victims as she was getting taken a picture of by a supposable photographer, just randomly taking pictures of people. But no, what he did pretty much messed with her, because he wasn't taking her picture, he was actually scanning her brain. Why? Well, that's where it comes into the so-called criminal of this episode, and the criminal going into the Painkiller series. You got a crime lord here by the name of Maya, who seems to want to kidnap people and seems to be messing with their brains, working on their brains, like making them be somewhat similar to Khalil when it comes to Painkiller. And you gotta wonder, who else has done something like that before? And because let's face it, if some of y'all didn't figure it out then, or if it didn't lead you on, you were then gonna be shocked at the end of the episode when we found out that this Maya person isn't just some ordinary crime lord. Oh no, she is actually the daughter of Agent Odell. That's right, guys. Agent Odell. He's still alive, which we pretty much might have already suspected because in last season, Khalil did give him a shot that left internal bleeding, but like he said, he was still alive and could be taken into custody, and it was all in God's hands. And well, I guess God decided to let Odell live, despite the despicable man he is. He says he does everything for his country, and I can believe that and stuff, but at the same time, with some of the other stuff he did, you can tell he's got a criminal side to him that won't hesitate to do some things for himself, even if he may say it's for in his country. Because what he's doing right now, what him and his daughter are doing right now, I can't help but think that's just their own selfish, deadly end needs. And yet, maybe it's also another dark side project that the government wants them to do. Because let's not forget that I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's the guy from at the end of season three, the first meta. Yeah, that guy is still alive out there, and my guess is Odell knows that, and maybe that's why whatever he's doing with these kidnapped kids and other people, he's using them to prepare for whenever he makes his move. That's just my guess on that, though. That's just a guess on that. But now, having said that, though, it's time we get into Khalil here, since he's the star of this episode. As I said, guys, a new life with two good friends of his that are pretty much the only family he has now, which is all nice and good because they both show that they're very handy. We got Donald, who's a doctor who had been a medic in the Marines or Army or whichever one he said, and he is the one who also helps Anissa deal with her problems with Khalil, since as Painkiller, he's not only tried to nearly killed her once, but twice. But with Donald's help, she's able to come to terms and learn how to try to give Khalil and Painkiller a chance, because the way that works is that he counters her by letting her know that while what they have with compared to Khalil may be different, it has some similarities. And what is that? A double life duality. Duality, double life, no matter which way you look at it, it's both the same. And yeah, Anissa tries to defend herself saying that she's always been open, but let's face it, I think we all know that's not true. Because let's face it, even if some of us may be straight and others may be gay out there, we still all can know the thing about wanting to open up to people. And in Anissa's case, since she was gay and stuff, I'm sure it took a while before she had the courage to even come out and tell her family. Even let's say if her family probably already figured it out before she told them and stuff. So yeah, and not to mention how Donald countered her by saying, "Are you sure of that, Anissa, or do you prefer Thunder?" That's what really helped Anissa open her eyes to realize that maybe she's not as open as she may think, because it is true. There's parts of her she shows as Anissa, and there's other parts she shows as Thunder and Blackbird. But then again, I think Thunder and Blackbird are pretty much still her using her same vigilante attitude, nevertheless. But yeah, so when you look at it like that, yeah, because I'm not gonna lie that even when I meet people, I don't just show them all parts of my personality. I only show them some parts that I feel okay with showing until I feel the time is right to show other parts of it. In any case, though, it was great of Donald to do that for Anissa. And then let me just mention Filicky. This guy is pretty much, as I said, the Gambi of the group. But now, having said that, it's time to go more into the duality of Painkiller and Khalil, as these two are still struggling with themselves inside. But I love how they show it in a sort of Japanese style environment, and showing Khalil wearing white clothing and Painkiller wearing black clothing, showing the representations of a person's light side and dark side. Because let's face it, we all have that in us, and it's all about learning how to control it, when to use the light, and then when use the darkness, and in a way how to mold them together to help better yourselves or better the people you wish to help. Because the one thing Khalil mentioned to Anissa here is that he's not like them. He's not like the Pierce family go out rescuing people. Yet at the same time, Anissa helped him realize that you gotta sometimes need to do something, because if no, you don't, who else will out there? And that is very much true. Just sometimes it's hard to do it when you got yourself fighting with yourself on the inside. This is why you can say in this episode, it finally helps you to establish that Painkiller is much more of an anti-hero than a villain, because it's shown to us later on that when Khalil allows Painkiller to come out when they're fighting a bunch of the guards, when they're looking for Mia in the so-called building where they supposedly find her at, you see him just, first off, those two in their different styles of fighting. You see how Khalil fights here, and then you see how Painkiller fights, and I'm just like, this is badass. I love both of their styles of fighting. You got Khalil doing the thing where he's not really trying to kill many people, and then here comes Painkiller and just killing all over, but not in cold-blooded murder, and just fighting form style and whatnot. And yes, I loved every minute of it. But the biggest one came to me was when they were showing that they accept the fact that they are not one without the other. They need each other. And in the fact that they actually both have something in common. They are tired of something being in their brain controlling them, especially Painkiller, when in the moment when he needs to leave the building, he refuses until Khalil comes to him, and Painkiller confesses how he doesn't like all this negative energy, negative thoughts and bad things going on in his head. You even see him shed a tear, showing that, yeah, like he may be okay more with killing than Khalil is, but he still doesn't like all this negative thing that Odell gave him. He even mentions how she was his mom too, meaning Painkiller may have killed Khalil's mother, but he admits that was his mom too, and he was not happy with what he had to do. This really shows how much deeper things are with Painkiller than you know, things that even the Pierce family wouldn't know about it. And this can really show a great plot going forward, should this Painkiller series go into green light mode. And I just gotta say, let it go in a green light mode. It must go in a green light mode. This episode really established some awesome characters, awesome dynamics, and great storytelling going forward. And I just really love to see it all at the end of the day. But that is all right there, guys. That was the episode. Beautiful episode. Great choreography fighting. Great setup. Great characters. I have nothing more to say other than that. But I haven't said all that. If you enjoy my videos, all you gotta do is click that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. And until then, MegaGeekMixer signing out. Bye!